Alright guys, so I bought something, I think I've said before, I'm a field tech for an industrial equipment corporation, and you're not always near an outlet. They give you an inverter, but that requires your truck to run. They don't want your truck idling all day, blah, blah, blah. So what I found on Tractor Supply's website was this Sportsman. It's a 1,000-watt surge and 800-watt running inverter generator. It was like $166 after shipping and everything. I think I paid $188 or $190. Looking around, they have pretty decent reviews. It's got a little 40cc 4-stroke engine, a little over half-gallon fuel tank. It says it runs 6.3 hours at 50% load gas. It has one 120 volt AC outlet and one 12 volt DC outlet. Looks like that's not much. So what I know it calls for is, I saw some guys post, they used to say 10 ounces or something of oil, now it says 7.5. They want 100-hour oil changes on it. We'll probably cut that down. It says to change the brake-in oil after 5 hours. I'm probably gonna change it in an hour or so. Oil's cheap. Let's get all this stuff out of there. It says to run it at 50 to 75% load for the first 20 hours, and then you can go the whole way. It says it has a CDI ignition. It wants you to oil the air filter, and it runs a little torch spark plug. Not much gap on it, 24 to 28 thou gap. So let's see. I did open it up to get the instructions out to see what type of oil it used. I didn't go any further than that. So they give you the instructions. It's a quick start guide and everything like that. Let's see. And a little bag here. Looks like they give you your adapter, your 12 volt adapter, a spark plug wrench, and a screwdriver. So that's kind of nice. And a paper funnel. Sometimes my hands don't work as good as I think they do. That's cute. Really cute. It's an interesting setup for the 12 volt adapter. It looks like it's a battery type charger. I think they would have used cigarette lighter, or 12 volt style. Typical Chinese stuff, but it's nice they throw it in there. Let's get to the fun part. So the weight on it, it's not bad. It actually is very light. Maybe 25, 30 pounds is all it feels like. I don't know if it's even that. That is light. So there it is. You must add gasoline and oil before first use. And they again state 7.5 ounces. Looks like we got a primer bulb. I'm not a huge fan of that. I see a lot of issues with the modern gases tearing those up. Everything I got with a primer bulb seems to be heating away. They do have a little spark arrestor on it. That's something else to watch and clean. Looks like you got your choke. Again, with the 7.5 ounces of oil. Got an economy mode, power, circuit breaker, and a ground. So it is a 15 amp outlet. Let's take the cover off and see what's under here. Let's use their tools. See what they fit. The screws feel like they're threaded into plastic. So there's probably not an insert or anything in there. And again, this is a cheap, the cases don't fit together well or nothing. This is a cheap generator. Honestly, it's very cheap. So I'll be curious to see as far as what the inside's built like. You can see some stress marks already on the plastic. I just heard something snap, so that's a great sign. Yeah, so that's all they did. Drop forged. Yeah, so that's weird. They put a plastic insert inside there. So they have the motor mounted through here, through the case, and it looks like 8 volts. The connections are not weather sealed. They're just non-insulated. Well, that one is, but this one isn't. Huh. They used bread ties to kind of hold the wires together, so they didn't even want to waste a zip tie. See what's under this side. The rated speed of the engine looks like 5,000 RPM, 60 hertz, single phase. It says it puts out max output is 1 kilowatt, rated output is 0.8 kilowatts. I'm not a tester, I'm just a mechanic. So again, it says 1030 to the lower line, 7.5 ounces. They're very, very particular about that. They're making sure you know that it is 7.5 ounces, no more, no less. What's funny is there's oil in it. Huh. I don't know how much or anything like that, but there is definitely oil in it. We're gonna tip this a little bit and see if anything comes up, or if that was just like assembly oil. Yeah, so that just must be assembly. So this engine was either pre-ran or they were really generous with the assembly lube. Let's go for the, yeah, it's just pre-ran. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna use some Pennzoil 1030, and I got a little, for veterinary use only, oil measurer. And there goes my wife hot rodding. I didn't think this one through. What do we got that we can measure some oil into? Let's see. Cap, bucket, container, lid, something. Satin finish interior detailer. Thank you, Kimball Midwest. There we go. Yeah, or we could always try to, yeah. So let's do that. So 7.5 ounces isn't a lot.
Right in. Right at 2. I guess it's actually more than you would think. So imagine how much 10 ounces was in this little guy. Yeah, so that's 2. And this is 4. Yeah, that's actually quite a bit of oil. The longest oil going up ever. Oh yeah. 6. Yeah, so imagine 10 ounces in that little thing. Let's do that. Seven.
See where that puts us at. Because they're saying to the lower line, So usually these sticks are a running range, but they're saying to a lower line. And it looks like you're checking that not threaded in. See where it goes when you thread it the whole way in. So some things like my Euro, they want the dipstick threaded in. Yeah, so if you go threaded in, it's actually right in the running range. And with an extra ½ ounce of oil, it would probably be right on top. So just food for thought on that one. And we're gonna change this. Huh, magnetic. That was nice of them. Let's see. It's maybe lightly oiled. We'll let it run for a minute and see. So there's no actual seal. They're pulling air from the bottom inside the case on that. So just something to keep an eye on. This, again, this does feel cheap. I will say that, it does feel cheap. And it's got a good positive stop, so. Now look at that. It does have an off and on thing. So it looks like there must be a fuel pump or a fuel, at least a valve. The valve doesn't feel too bad, but lots of stress marks in the plastic. Doesn't fit overall terribly bad. Read manual for start procedure. Pump, prime, button until and this full. I wouldn't be a gorilla on these fasteners because, again, they're only threading into plastic inserts. They went through a lot of effort to put those in there. Wonder how many pulls till it starts. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run it 20 minutes with nothing connected to it, and then dump the oil, and then we'll do their 5-hour, 50 to 75% load test, and we'll see how it goes. I want to check the voltage and stuff. I want to see how loud it is, because a lot of the times I'm not near an outlet, and the big thing is everybody uses cordless tools anymore. That's interesting. That doesn't fit real well. It'll go in, but I'll cock sideways. I go to locations where there might not be an outlet, and sometimes with the cost of fuel, our bosses get a little bit nitpicky about extended idling times. So something like this, or even to power a heater or a fan in the summer, a little bit of air movement when you're in the sun all day is really nice. I bet you this is our spark plug access. Again, it is cheap feeling, but yep, there she is. Not much access, but you can get your hand down in there on it. If you got gorilla hands like I do, you might struggle to get your hand in there, but probably a set of pliers or something you can get in there. So it looks like it's got a vent cap too. So when you're transporting it doesn't steal. Open, closed. I saw some early little fuel filters, so they want you to fill it to the red line in here. It does smell like something was in there. The vent cap does work, and I saw some early complaints that when it snapped all the way open, it was actually shutting them off and causing people to not to have to run it. Mine seems to function. Let's give this thing a couple pulls over, and we'll see. before we put some gas in it. It's got compression. Let's put some gas in there. Got some 93 octane here. So I run a lot of different fuels, and a lot of them look the same. You could tell by smelling them, but I usually label the can so I know what's in there. This is a kind of full already. Well, when you only hold half a gallon, not really. That sounds fuller. Yeah, that's better. It's got rubber feet on it, I can feel that. Let's see. Get our cap on, make sure it's open. And I have a Champion, a bigger dual fuel we use on our camper. So it'll be curious to see. So let's turn the gas valve on. It says I can hear something. There we go. All right, it says close to start. It's on. Let's give it a pull. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's open it up. Is there an on button? Oh. Let's try that. Just to check. That is. So that's your gas valve and that's your on button. So it probably would have started up. If I hadn't been dumb. Let's put out, put her down on the economy. Let's get the voltmeter out. Let's see what we got. .24. Try the DC side. 15. Woo. Let's turn off economy. 18. She's spicy. Spicy. So I would watch running anything off that. It says 4 amp, but that is spicy. Huh. On economy, it's not bad. Off economy, that's some spicy voltage. .24.5. Stays pretty stable. That's all. So it fires right up. It sounds good. It's running great. It's not loud at all. Honestly, the camera and the steel building is probably making it louder than it could be. But it is not loud at all. Yeah, that's not bad at all. All right, guys, I'll bring you back after it runs for a minute. There's no need to sit here. All right, guys, so what we did was I ran it for 20 minutes yesterday, dumped the oil, and then filled it up and did their break-in. At the 20-minute mark, there was quite a bit of debris. Looked like mostly aluminum shavings, but there was a little bit of magnetic material in there. Not much, but a little bit. So it's definitely worth the 7.5 ounces of oil to go ahead and do it. And I'd recommend doing it hot, just because you get a little bit more oil out of it when it's hot than cold. So it was definitely worth a little bit of extra oil. Now, I wouldn't have ran it as long as they said. So this is gonna be after their initial run-in. So we're gonna see what we get here. I ran it again to get it good and hot. And we'll see. Let's see what we get coming out of this now. So the oil's still pretty clean, but you never know until you actually drain it. So let's see if we can get some light on it too. That way it shows up better. I'm curious to see how this actually looks. Probably should do it against a white piece of paper or something to actually tell, but oh yeah, look at that. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that is solid metal debris. So it goes to show you, yeah, that's a lot. It goes to show you, and there's some silicone black paint. That changing it is just, oil's cheap. These things are mass produced. But that was a lot of metal. So I'm not unhappy that I did that. Next I'll show you guys. This is how I was dumping it. So what we're gonna do, I just grabbed the whole thing. These things are pretty light. Take it over. And then just kind of, some guys might use brake cleaner, something to clean it out, but there you go. So overall, does run. I ran it for a good while. It's quiet, it's smooth. It was a little rough on the initial first startup, but after it ran for a minute, it cleared right up. So maybe the rings were seating, or maybe the valves were seating, or something like that. But after that, it ran good. I'll keep you guys updated because it's going to be bouncing around in the back of a service truck for quite a while, and we'll see how it holds up. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys.